Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Welcome to Blacks in Technology audio podcast. We're going to be talking with Alfred Green. He's a member on the site. Alfred is a mechanical engineer, and he is a free and open source software advocate. He's a pretty interesting fellow. We met him at the Ohio Linux Fest. So we're going to give Alfred a call and talk to Alfred about what Alfred's been up to, and some other things. So here we go.
Second, all right. My solution was basically I took my iPhone and took the headphones out into the microphone on my sound card, input on my sound card, and then I use Audacity to record it, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work like I wanted to. So what I had to do is end up calling from my house phone to my iPhone, and then three-way calling you so that all the audio will get captured.
Right. Now you're gonna have to check levels because there's two things to concern. I mean, I'm talking over right now over a Bluetooth headset, so I can have my hands free. So I don't have a microphone boom or anything like that. So I don't know how much distortion you're going to get on my audio. My audio might be very low, so you're going to have to use a levelizer or something like that.
I tested it yesterday. It
It
seemed to come over pretty well. Levels seem to be pretty good.
So you may want to record just a little. You may want to test a little bit, like maybe 15 minutes of my audio or 10 minutes of my audio, and see what it sounds like.
Okay.
Just so that we don't waste any time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got it recorded right now. As a matter of fact, the levels seem to be pretty cool. I'll check here in a little bit.
Okay.
But what's going on, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just like I said, wifey's out of town, until like midnight. So I've got a honeydew list that I'm trying to knock out right now. So I was working on my kitchen sink. I got to stop this leak, and I pulled the basket out, put some plumber's putty down, and then put the basket back in there. And I think that should stop the leak. So I was about to tighten that clutch when I went back to my lab, and I saw that you had texted me. My phone is like I said, my Nokia is in the office right now. So the range on this Bluetooth, the Bluetooth is pretty good. It's in the other room back there with all the noise. I got the computer and the network back there, so it's kind of noisy in that room, and it's kind of warm in that room as well. So I probably need to stay out here while. So.
Yeah, you seem to be coming through pretty clear, so it sounds like it's working
levels decent. Levels decent. Yeah. Should play it back to make sure it sounds good, I guess.
Yeah, well. So, get into interview mode, so to speak.
Okay.
To start, I guess, with you're out of Detroit, right?
Well, this is where my residence is, but I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, actually.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what made you move to Detroit? Was it just change of jobs? Or?
Well, I figured when I was 17, take it back a little bit if I can. When I was 17, I got out of high school and I didn't have any money to go to college, and I was first generation in my family to go to college or whatever. So there weren't a whole lot of people there giving me like directions. So you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that. Yeah. So basically, provided the choice I made, provided it wasn't going to be something that would harm myself and my family, people were very receptive. So I decided that I would go into the service and raise some money for college, and then go to school for engineering. because I knew I wanted to do engineering. I knew I wanted to do engineering from the very beginning. I went to Brooklyn Tech. That's where I graduated from in Fort Greene, Fort Greene section of Brooklyn. And outside of that, I knew that I needed to go. I wanted to do an engineering degree, but I didn't have the finances to get there, and I didn't have anybody really pushing me. I didn't have any real guidance to push me that direction.
Yeah.
So, in fact, people in the guidance counselors at school said if your grades aren't good enough, you can't get into MIT. You can't go to any of those schools. So, we think you should, perhaps pick another vocation. So, basically, I went to
your guidance counselors actually deterred you from trying to go into engineering?
Yeah, they told me that I didn't have the grades to do it. I never forget that guy's name. His name was Bader. Bader was his name. Yeah, he said, your grades don't support that, and quite frankly, you probably need to figure out something else. So I went into the service. I did 6 years active, 2 years inactive in the Navy. Worked as a gas turbine systems electrician. Right, so I kind of learned how it was to, get into a power plant. Learn basic thermodynamics and things of that nature. And, saw a little action while I was in, traveled halfway around the world. So, once that was all said and done, I knew that I needed to be in somebody's classroom, man.
Yeah.
You travel, you spend your days circling the Red Sea firing tomahawk missiles. You get a different appreciation for education right off the bat. Really learned that, hey, this ain't for me. I can't do this for the rest of my life. I got to do something else, man. So when I got out of there, one of my friends sent me a kite, basically. She looked out for me when I got out of school and said, hey, you want to go into engineering, you need to come over here to FAMU and meet some of the professors out here. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
I was 23 years old, at the time. So it was that I had a little bit of money from the GI Bill, so I started. They advised me to start small, start at junior college level, get your weight up, so to speak. Get all your math classes and stuff under your belt, and get acclimated into the academia once again, and then come over to university, and then you'll have some money left over to get yourself some scholarships and whatever, and then you can start taking the upper divisions of coursework here. So I decided I would become a mechanical engineer. I got involved with NESB, and stuff like that when I was in route to an associate's degree at Virginia College, at the JUCO down there, Tallahassee Community College, they call it. It was down in Tallahassee at the time. And once I got, the 11 math classes that I needed, I need a lot of math classes, man. It's amazing how much I forgot.
Yeah, engineering requires that. A lot of math, a lot of physics.
Yeah. So I had to get all that. I got most of it at junior college level. I was just able to take up the Calc 2 at the junior college, and I transferred over and took, my Calc 3 and my FEQ, my linear algebra, and all that shit. I took all that at FAM. And then I started taking my engineering coursework, and that was the eye-opening experience for me. I'm thankful that I went to FAM because people really looked out for me. My dean, at the time he was the vice president of student affairs. He looked out for me. Ammons, that's my man right there. He really looked out for me. He's actually the president now of the university. He's a good friend of mine. And so he gave me a job. That was, aside from giving me an opportunity, he gave me a job in telecommunications down there. So I was running cable. That's what I was doing, running cable. And setting up token ring networks. Remember those token ring networks from way back in the days?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we were running that. We had controllers there that IBM planted there for academic advisement and stuff like that. So I was running cable and basically a lot of grunt work. And I, discovered the internet back in '93. I mean, not like Al Gore, but I fell upon it. And that was kind of the beginning of my curiosity, man, because at that time, there was no Windows around that you could use. It was all like 311. It was never networked. And that's how I discovered Unix. Through that tutelage and that introduction, I kind of stumbled upon Unix, and Spark and all that stuff, Spark boxes, the pizza boxes. And it was all about building web pages for me at the time, trying to get my hustle on and, showing people how to connect their P2P accounts so that they can get access to the internet on their PC from their homes, students and stuff like that. So I was the guy that would do that sort of work for them. And then I said, hey, I need to learn Unix. How can I learn Unix at home? Well, you just can't because it's expensive. The computer's expensive.
Yeah.
You can't get a Spark box. So lo and behold, I go get the Sam Club Linux Unleashed, and got a Slackware CD in it, 1.2.13 kernel, and 2.2 version of Slackware in there, and that's where I kind of get going. So
that's where your love of Slackware began.
Absolutely, and it never changed, never faded, man. And then getting to your question, how did I get to Detroit? How did I find myself here? Out of school, the two places that gave me offers were GM and Ford. I had no love for cars. Still don't really have a love for cars, man. I'm not a mechanic. I mean, I don't get down like that. I'm from the streets, man. Took the Iron Horse, So I took the Iron Horse. That's the trap station I understand. I know and understand that.
Yeah.
But, they gave me offers, so I was like a hired gun, a desperado. I had to get some loot, man.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm at right now. And so, the economy kind of imploded and everything, so I'm kind of trapped here for the time being. And I got married and everything, and my wife and I set up a practice here for her, so we're going to be here for a couple of years probably.
Gotcha.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens, though. Yeah.
So you are definitely a Slackware person when it comes to Linux. And you've been running that.
I would say. Yeah, I would say so. I run it at home. I've been running it since '96. It's my primary workstation. It's my primary workstation. Yeah. And quite frankly, I like it so much because it educated me about Unix. Right? It's the most Unix-like, I think. It's the most Unix-like distribution that you can find today.
Okay.
It's the oldest running distribution by a couple of weeks. Debian being the second oldest. And the community there is so tight. I mean, I got a chance to meet some of the developers when they were working out at Walnut Creek. I met some of them at the Jacob Javits Center during what they used to call the Linux World Conference and Expo. They used to be those things in New York.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And I got a chance to hang out with some of those guys there, and brought my little notepad, my lab book I used to keep when I was first learning how to run a Linux operating system. And those guys helped me out with no problems, man. David Cantrell and Chris Loomis, those guys were like the initial software development team for Slackware back in the day. And they were very, very friendly people. I said, man, I hope all Slackware guys are like that. And for the most part, they are.
Yeah.
I haven't really met anybody in that community that was just Slack. That's me. But so I stuck with it, man, and it never changes, which is another thing I like, because once you install one Slackware system, all the others will be the same, and the size of the footprint of the operating system can change a whole lot. Granted, now you get them on DVD, whereas you could probably do them on floppy disks or one CD, but it's really the same process, and they don't change things very much because they know people like stable systems.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I stuck with it.
It's such I guess a first beginners. I shouldn't say beginners, but it was one of the first Unix-like distros out there. Why is it, do you think, that you don't hear it as much as being like a corporate or enterprise operating system as compared to something like Red Hat or Debian?
Well, I would say that from an enterprise perspective, you won't hear much about Slackware in the enterprise because, it never really got a huge commercial uptake because they were more focused on being stable and not necessarily bleeding edge on things. They were, Pat Vogelting, he's the lead and founder of Slackware, and his philosophy is, be as stable as you possibly can, and change when only absolutely necessary. So for a long time, Slackware would have 2.4 kernel in there, where other people would jump into 2.6 kernel. By default, you get 2.4. And it was done because that was the most stable thing winning. But a lot of enterprise people, they may want some of the more leading edge stuff in some cases, not always. I would probably argue that most people in enterprise want to keep stable stuff on hand and only make changes when necessary. Yeah. So I just don't think that, Slackware cared a whole lot about marketing and commercializing what it is they're doing. That's why you don't hear a whole lot of them. But there may be some Slackware distributions in enterprise. It's just you don't hear a whole lot about it,
Yeah.
And Debian is probably the same way, because I would argue that Debian is not necessarily hugely installed in all enterprise places, because they're the same way. For a long time, they took a lot of flack for being behind the curve. And, I think that's unfair, because when we say, what is that measuring stick that you talk about? What is a measuring stick? Should it be Ubuntu? I don't necessarily agree it should be Ubuntu. Ubuntu is designed to make Linux easy for people coming from the Windows world or from the Macintosh world.
Exactly.
And that's the audience and market that they're seeking. The Slackware market has always been the hobbyist, or the hacker. That's what their market has always been. So it's a different install base, a user base.
Gotcha. Yeah, I always when I started out with Linux, I started with Debian. A friend of mine who actually does information security and things like that, he turned me on to it probably about maybe about 9 or 10 years ago. So I haven't been into it, for a real long time, but he's the person that turned me on, and that's mainly what I've stuck with is Debian.
Right.
Dibble and dabble with other ones, but for the most part, like my file server right now is running Debian, and it's just what I learned with and what I'm comfortable with, so I usually stick with that.
Yeah, I've messed with Debian too, and I've done Debian on installs that I've done for customers and stuff like that. Only because from a standpoint of upgrading and stuff like that, it might be a little faster to install software packages.
Yeah.
And if you give it to somebody and let them turn them loose on it and manage it, they want to make sure that the tendencies are already done for them and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I may advocate Debian for some of those types of use cases. But for me, I'm happy to use Slackware and use that until whenever, because that's just what I know. I'm a creature of habit, so I keep it simple and do that because that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. So going back, I know you talked about, you were saying that you knew that you wanted to get into engineering. What do you think was your moment of clarity to hey, that's it? That's because I kind of had when I first began school, I knew, even though I hadn't been into computers for a very long time, because my journey began years and years and years ago when I was 12, and my father bought me a Commodore 16, which was, a less expensive version of what they had back then, the 64. So he actually bought me a Commodore 16, and I loved it, and I played around with it and everything like that. Then it went on to Fritz, and for years I didn't mess with another computer, didn't pick one up until, almost 16, 17 years later. And then, but it was, at 12 is when I knew that, I want to get into computers eventually. What was that moment for you?
Well, for me, I guess it wasn't immediate. I mean, when you go back to when I was an adolescent, and I was probably in junior high school, I was catching insects, and I thought maybe I wanted to be an entomologist, and I like, catching praying mantises and insects and stuff. Then I realized that, they weren't really like, making the kind of money as I got older, that money became important. I couldn't wear, cloths and, nice clothes and stuff like that on entomologist budget or entomologist salary,
Yeah.
I would have to get a PhD and all that other stuff. And I said, you know what? Nah, I can't catch bugs. I can't, do insects the rest of my life. So, so then I realized, I said, you know what? I'm going to do engineering. That moment was pretty much when I got out of high school. One of the things that pissed me off was, going back to that guidance counselor. One thing that people know about me is that I'm very determined, and I go from beginning to end. I usually am zero focus, laser focus on completing things. There aren't too many things I started in life that I never finished. So I was determined to become an engineer because I knew I was capable. I knew I had the aptitude, and I knew I had the tenacity. Really, engineering is not as difficult as people think. It has more to do about your tenacity and your ability to finish what you begin and go find the answers rather than some raw intellect, some, brainiac. You don't have to do those things. You just have to be determined to finish and determined to go find answers. You have to have a hunger for finding the answer, though. That's the thing. A lot of people may not want to spend time finding the answers, or maybe even changing the question to find the answer.
Yeah.
Those are things that I discovered that were things that I enjoyed doing. So that was, it was probably right after high school. Right at that time, I knew that I wanted to do engineering work. So, and the journey was quite long, man. I took a different route than most people would. I started things a lot later than others. Really, a lot of my friends got into their careers well before I even started. Making any money. I got married later in life. I started making money later in life.
Yeah.
I hustled a lot longer than most people do or did.
Yeah.
So I got on my grizzly, as you say. And I'm still hustling right now. Things aren't what I like them to be, but I got a clear perspective on how to get there, and it's probably a lot clearer than 20 years ago. At least I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I talked to a lot of black men, and some of them, they have that same story as far as deciding what they want to do later in life. Even me, I didn't really get into IT until my late 20s. That's when my career started. But when I got there, I really pushed and grinded it out to be where I'm at right now. So.
Right. Well, that's what's up, definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about what should we talk about now?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, first of all, for the benefit of your listeners, I am not traditionally trained like yourself and many others. I didn't go to school for information technology. I didn't get a comp sci degree or a computer engineering degree. I pretty much taught myself, learned by doing. I mean, I met a lot of cats that were like me. They had a hunger for computing. I had friends like Brandon Moore, Ray Gilstrap. Those cats held me down when I was in school. They taught me a lot of stuff, and they like myself kind of figured out they wanted to do some stuff, so they went out and did it, and learned how to do it. So there were no classes that I took to learn about, basic sysadmin stuff, basic, discovery. That just wasn't something that we did because we were doing something else. We were doing engineering work. We weren't really doing computer science. But we just had a passion for it, so I didn't, get any degree in that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. What was your question?
I was going to talk about the site, the Blacks in Technology site. What turned you on to it, or how did you find out about it?
Well, I would say that I found out about it through Hash, through
okay.
I always forget the brother's name, man. First name.
Ronnie.
Through Hash. Roddy.
Yeah.
Did you say Roderick or Roddy?
Ronnie.
Ronnie, I'm sorry, Ronnie, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had, I think what happened was, I'm trying to remember, I think I ended up stumbling upon a site through circumstance, and through BDPA. No, through LinkedIn, I think it was, BDPA, because I did a talk for BDPA here locally in Detroit about 3 or 4 years ago. I did a talk on Linux and the enterprise, and it was through that experience that I got turned on to BDPA. We did joint meetings between NESB, Detroit Alumni Extension, and Black, Data Processors Association. We got together and we did joint meetings. So I got turned on to BDPA, and the website that you guys are running, someone through LinkedIn turned me on to that. And I went in there, took a look at it, and then, of course, Ronnie said, hey, you need to go ahead and set up an account, and I did. After some weeks had passed, and that's kind of how I found it. And of course, I ran into you cats down at Ohio Linux Fest in September. So that was basically how I got turned on to BIT, or the IT Black Technology.
So are you a part of BDPA?
Well, no, I am not. I'm not, now a financial member, but I'll support them sometimes when I go out to the meetings. Okay. These days, as I've become, a married man and family man and stuff, I have less time to do a whole lot of that because there's always something for me to do at home.
Yeah.
I don't get a chance to get out there and do stuff that much more. I mean, I would love to do more talks for real because I think the perspectives that I have could be useful, perhaps useful to some of the membership.
In what way? Because
sorry, go ahead.
Just because I've talked to a couple of people that are also members, and just heard some things about them trying to get back as far as connecting more with their members or building a better relationship with their members and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, you may recall when we went down to OLF.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that. When I went down to OLF, I was with one of my buddies, Matt Hendricks, and one of the things that he mentioned was that he found that there was like a dearth, if you will, of technical leadership in BDPA. And it's not just BDPA. I see the same thing in NESB, DAE, those organizations. Well, at least NESB. NESB has always been a student-run organization. And so as a result, most of the things going on there are designed for undergraduates, not so much professionals and entrepreneurs. BDPA, I think, is different. But here in Detroit, what you find is you have that person that goes to work every day, and they are they call themselves, the developers, or they call themselves, a project lead. But at the end of the day, they switch all that off and they become somebody else. They change. They don't even want to look at a computer when they come home. So that whole technical leadership thing and being a real geek kind of goes out the window. I'm from the school whereas I believe you can't be an engineer just like 1% of the day when you're at work sitting in a desk somewhere. You're either an engineer or you're not. You can't flip it. I always say you live the life. If you're going to become that, be that all the time. Immerse yourself in it, embrace it. Live it. It's like hip hop. For me, you call yourself a rapper. Are you hip hop or you're a rapper? Which one is it? I mean, they're not the same thing. I look at it, either you live the life or you don't. Are you part of the culture or you're not?
Yeah.
Are you connected to the music industry and their financing, or are you connected to the hip hop and the culture? Which one is it? A lot of these people out here, they're connected to the financing that their office brings and their company brings, but they're not really connected to technology or computing because they don't live the life. So I think you find it a lot here at BDPA. That's what my observation's been.
Gotcha. And I kind of see what you're talking about. That was one of the major one of the major things that we wanted to not do when we formed Blacks in Technology. We wanted to be, sort of a geeks website, for techies, and we didn't want it to be, a lot of, bureaucratic or political type thing or anything like that. We wanted it, people who were in, deal with the zeros and ones and the hardware and the software and things like that. We wanted that out of the site. And as we, continue to move, forward with new initiatives, that's one of the things, the core things that we want to keep about the site is, when you go there, even though right now a lot of the activity is focused around the forum, but if you look at the forum, a lot of it is still it's a lot of technical stuff, and it's not a lot of other stuff involved. And even I don't know if you've watched any of the videos on there, but the videos are technical videos, and it's just an element that we wanted to keep.
Right. Yeah, and I did look at some of the videos, and I noticed you and Ronnie had done some talks at Cincinnati Technical. I think it's Cincinnati Technical University, right?
Yeah.
And Cincinnati Tech, and so and I appreciate it. That was one of the things that I also liked about the site was that there was some real technical discussion going on. It wasn't more like this Web 2.0 that people talk about. When they say Blacks in Technology, it always invariably runs into social media or social networking. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to diss people that are into that sort of thing. Nothing wrong with social media, Web 2.0, but to me that's just the thin layer above the core of what's interesting to me, which is the act of building and creating. The act of building and creating, right? That's what makes all that shit work. That's what's interesting to me.
I agree. That's another another thing that I find that we're doing, even with the mobile apps project, is where the community is dedicated to getting involved with the technology behind it, and not just being like a power user. To me, doing social media and things are cool and maximizing it and things like that, but to me, that's not really being a geek. That's just learning how to use social media to your advantage. I like the the underlying technology and how it works and what makes social media work and things like that. So that's why we're getting together as a community to develop this mobile apps project. I mean, it's going to be a lot of new stuff for a lot of our members, and everybody was able to learn from it. So.
Right. And your point, to your point, are you going to be a consumer or a producer or a prosumer? People that use social media, they're consuming. They're working on the very thin layer of what's really interesting. And so when the core changes, which it will, it's just a matter of time before something else comes out, right? When Facebook becomes proprietary, or when it's proprietary already, it's not becoming. It's already proprietary, but when it becomes a pay model, it disappears. When Twitter becomes a pay model, it disappears. What will you then do if that's all you're proposing is, talking about these different applications and not necessarily what the application is built upon and how to create something else? Since you don't know how to create anything else, you haven't developed anything, then what do you do next? Well, you go talk about somebody else's technology, something else that they're doing, and not necessarily learn how to feed yourself, in a way that's going to be scalable for the next generation, so you can give something back to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to be talking about as a people. We need to figure out those type of solutions, man, because, we spend all this money on gadgets and, the next iPhone or whatever, right? And then, when that's all gone, what then do you do next? I mean, it's nice to have those things, but it'd be great if we could somehow build either an application or build a stack where the things work upon, understand how the stack works, understand how telephony works, those types of things. I think you're better off in that position. You have more stable foundation.
What do you think that is a starting point for that? Like, because one of the biggest reasons behind Blacks in Technology is when me and Ronnie, we met at the Ohio Linux Fest about 4 or 5 years ago, and you look out into the audience and the participants are, a majority, white, and we looked at it as, we didn't look at it as, well, we're all the black people. We looked at it as, what are we not doing for us not to be here? If I'm here and you're here, where's everybody else? Like, why aren't there more black people here? Why aren't there more black people in information technology? And one of the things that, I began to think about or look at is, well, it's almost kind of a catch-22 because we're not here. So if there's a curious kid, like a curious black kid out there, and he decides to venture out and say, hey, I think I might want to look into technology, and he comes to an event like this, and he sees no other black people there, then he might get turned off. I actually had my wife's cousin tell me when he was in high school, he thought about getting into computers, and he went to a class one day he had signed up for, and went there, and nothing but white faces in the class, and the teacher, of course, was white as well, and they looked at him, and he kind of looked at them, and he left.
Right.
So I have this thing I like to call FaceTime, and I think that a big thing is we don't have enough FaceTime. There's not enough of us, even like in magazines being projected and things like that, for even an interested person to look at and feel comfortable enough for them to venture further. And I think that is something that needs to increase. And that's like I said, that was a big reason for starting the site and wanting to do videos, because I think that kids, or even not even kids, just a younger generation period, or people who are thinking about getting into information technology or technology as a whole, can look at a video and say, there's a person that looks like me, talks like me, that is doing technology. It's for me.
Right.
I can make that connection. I can relate, because, and that's, I also brought that up in one of the Cincinnati State videos, that we had a talk on, and it was just one of the slides in my presentation, and I had like some of the music in my iPod, and there was some stuff like Jay-Z, some Nas, and the point was, hey, I listen to this music as well. There's no reason why there should be like this negative stereotype about people in technology, or you feel like a square or a lame. I'm still the same guy, from 20 years ago. I still love hip-hop. I still love doing these things. I just love technology. That's one of my passions. Mm-hmm. So I guess, what does it do? What do you think that we need to begin in order to, I guess, make it more acceptable to be in technology?
Well, actually, I had blogged about this topic some years ago. When I started blogging and stuff like that, I always was like befuddled with this perception that, engineering has to be some or technical disciplines has become this it has become, I guess, dormant, or it has become mystified in some way, whereas, the mainstream media markets don't really lend themselves to learning about engineering. At least when you look at black people or people of color, you don't see us anywhere in that capacity in mainstream media. I think it has a lot to do with the perception and the audience at large. And what I mean by that specifically is, if I can give you a scenario, you got an artist like Spike Lee, you got an artist or a director like Spike Lee, you got a director like the guy who does the Chitlin circuit. What's his name? Tyler Perry. Well, they're both accomplished, directors and so on and so forth. So, arguably they're both accomplished. Spike's been around for a long time, obviously. Tyler Perry's up and coming cat. But they have totally different audiences, and they feed upon the differences in audience. But the audiences that seem to be larger and flocking are the ones going to Tyler Perry because that's the mentality of the usership, or that's what sells today. So what sells today is that techno drama, that drama on TV for lawyers, or drama on TV for doctors and stuff. But you don't see that stuff on television for engineering. I would say that if you saw a major uptake in visual things like engineering for black folks, or shows that would, I don't know how you build something like that, but you create something in a visual way that could entice people to get involved with. The other thing is the engineers that are actually working, whether you're doing computer science or whether you're doing stuff like product development, which is what I do. Whether you're doing those things, if you were actually doing real engineering work and you could talk about it and be happy to share it with them and make it appealing to people who are younger, junior high school level, whatever, you might have a better chance of getting them involved as they get older. Because oftentimes we're so burnt out and distraught and disturbed by what we do at the office, we don't want to share what we do. Because most of the time we're just pushing paper around. You're not doing anything technical. So, of course, you don't want to talk to anybody about that. So that's one of the things that I have found to be the case. We just don't do a lot of it. But getting back to mainstream media has always ostracized technical people. Either you have an exaggerated overbite, or you got big horn-rimmed glasses on. Like to your point, you gotta be some pocket protecting wearing, goofball, not something like that with no common sense, that's the image they portray for technical people today, and that makes you don't
especially black people. Whenever you see black computer scientists on TV, it's even even more, what's the word I'm looking for? The stereotype is even,
they're even more stereotypical than the other. So if you look at a guy like Urkel, for instance, he was probably a very bright child, happened to be black, right? Very bright kid. Yeah. But they made him to be some goofball. He had some high waters on, glasses, thick horn-rimmed glasses, exaggerated overbite, and that's the vision that we give them, the visual that you give them children today. So when they want to aspire to do something like that, they want to aspire to solve problems, they want to aspire to get into mathematics or science or computers or computing, then they're going to think about Urkel and the fun that people will make of them, and the jokes that people will have for them. Yeah. And so, of course, they want to get into something else. So go be a lawyer. That's glamorous. You can make plenty of money. Be on TV, But it's all high drama, Law at school is difficult, don't get me wrong, but it's not technical work. Unless you're going to do patent law, even at patent law, you got to have an engineering degree in most cases, right? So it's not technical. A doctor, it's good work. It's hard work, but it's not, I would say it's not, as, any more technical than engineering is, for sure, because engineers screw something up, you kill, doctors screw something up, you kill one person, maybe two. Engineers screw up, kill millions of people, hundreds of people. That's just that's the way it is. I was listening to a talk given by Evan Moglen not too long ago. I think he's a law professor at Columbia, and he also did a lot of work.
Can you hold that thought 1 second? I'm going to switch phones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound like the kids just got in.
What's that?
Sound like the kids just got in. Heard voices and stuff. Yeah, so the family just got in.
Who, my family?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They just walked in from the grocery store.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what time is it? How much time we got?
Probably a few minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And then
Cool.
we'll wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. We can wrap up in about 9 minutes. So that we don't mind that way I can take care of some things. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, to your point, I was just saying. I'm trying to remember where we left off. I think we were talking about. Gosh. Oh, Evan Moglen. Yeah, I was saying that I was listening to Evan Moglen. He was talking about software development and using free software and development, and he specifically was talking about Toyota and the accelerator pellet issue that they were having. And I don't know the litigation that's behind it in terms of the specifics and the arguments, but he alluded to the fact that software was perhaps in fault there. And in most cases, he was confident that it was software that was not readily available for peer review. Why? Because it would give Toyota a disadvantage if they gave up all their software, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
So, it was a good talk, man. And what he was basically saying is that, these people who built this software were, probably under some NDA or whatever the case is, and created, a lot of problems. I don't know if anyone died from those car crashes that were taking place, but it certainly was a major consumer problem. And I think that from that perspective, it's something that would bear noticing, when you talk about the impact engineers have on society. And, if the kids or the youth, junior high school, otherwise, would understand the responsibility that engineers have in society, perhaps they would take notice and, respect all that and maybe even start believing that they could possibly do it and take a more active role in it and not get dissuaded. And then people, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Basically, looking at it in a better light than what it's presented out there right now.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just came across an article. I don't know if you're aware of it. I'm pretty sure you are, but Google is test driving cars that drive themselves. Did you hear about that?
Test driving what?
They're testing cars that drive themselves. They said they've been testing them out in California for months.
Really? No, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, apparently they hired some engineers who have been participated in competitions and races involving automated cars, and they've actually, it sounds like they've been building and testing cars that drive themselves. And they said it's been on the streets of California for a few months, and they've only had one reported accident.
Oh, is that right? Interesting.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, me too.
I'm actually going to post.
Yeah, if you can forward that to me, I'd be interested in taking a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to post it out on the site as well.
Yeah.
Well, I know we said 9 minutes, but I guess we can go ahead and wrap this up, man. It's been good talking with you. Hopefully,
Likewise.
We'll do this again.
Yeah, definitely.
I still plan on somehow coordinating some type of effort, even if I have to, make a drive or something, to do a video, because we're still talking about doing this video, tentatively titled "Your Story Matters," and it's basically where we interview like members on the site and things like that, and just throw some questions out there for them to answer. And we're going to put a collection of short clips of the members and things like that answering these questions and post it on the site and post it other places too. But it just goes more into that thing I was talking about, FaceTime. I just want people to realize and recognize that there are African Americans out there that are in technology, and that it's not something that some mystical career option that right. It's out there. And so yeah, well, like I said, I'll be getting in contact with you later on and trying to set something up to where we can do that as well.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Now, in terms of audio, would you mind sharing the audio? I'd like to,
I can start it to you.
I could post it on my blog and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I have your email address. Pretty sure I do.
Okay. Yeah. Just point me to the link so I can download the audio, whatever it is. And,
okay.
Do it that way. That'd be cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll let you know when it's posted.
Okay. Hopefully the audio the sound was audible so people can actually hear it.
Yeah. If not, I'll do some. It looks like it is. I didn't go back and I didn't listen, but I did test it yesterday, and it came out pretty clear, pretty loud. So
okay,
it should be good.
Okay. Well,
should be good.
That would be cool.
Cool.
All right, great, hey, man.
I appreciate it.
No problem. I hope you feel better, because I know you said you were a little under the weather.
Yeah. I'm actually starting to feel better from earlier, so I think I'll be good.
Okay.
Well, cool, man. Take care, Alfred, and like I said, we'll talk soon in the future.
Okay, we'll talk soon, bro. Thank you.
All right, take it easy.
Okay, bye.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.